What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about 9 things that Americans do, but Brits do not do. I'm actually quite excited for this one, because usually it's the other way around. Usually I'm reacting and watching YouTube videos about Britain, about the UK, stuff there I've never seen before. So everything's kind of new to me, and I'm like, oh, we don't do that in America, that's my go-to. But here, we have 9 things that Americans do. I don't even, when you're forced to be introspective like that, self-reflect, it's always quite fascinating because I imagine these might be 9 things. I don't know if this is social customs or cultural things or stuff like items we have or I don't know, but it's usually stuff that I imagine I'm not really aware of. Things that Americans do that Brits don't. Probably stuff that I don't even think about, right? This is kind of fun. It's kind of fun shining the spotlight on the United States like this. But I imagine this will be quite entertaining and quite informative, actually. It's still satisfying my urge, my unending yearning for learning about Britain and all the comparisons to the United States and all that. So this should be entertaining. Let's take a look. Oh, smile at strangers. Smile at strangers. Yeah. Usually when you're walking around someplace and you make eye contact with somebody randomly that you don't know, I do feel an uncontrollable compulsion to smile and do the nod, like the nod, or just the nod, or else it's kind of rude if you don't. That's a weird one, because we could just ignore each other. It's usually when you make eye contact, though.
Smiling at strangers, which I suppose is what I'm doing to you right now, so I'm a hypocrite in a way. And you know what? I think when I first encountered this is when you're walking along, say, a footpath or you're in a parkway, and someone you've never met, maybe they've got a dog, they just look at you and smile. It's
It is funny hearing it from his point of view. That's fun. It's not like we're staring at each other like, hello, nice to see ya. It's not like a horror movie or anything. It's like very brief. But yeah, another thing Americans do is they stare a lot. Americans really stare. I don't like that. When I look up over at somebody on the crossing on the street, they're usually already looking at me. And I'm like, whoa, hey, what are you doing? What's going on here? Why is So I'm looking at them, they're looking at me. There's only one way to quash the awkwardness. That's with just a little pleasant smile, Is that an American thing?
It sounds creepy when I put it like that, and at first it was. I thought I was going to get mugged, right? British people value their personal space, right? Don't enter that zone. And so whenever that happened, it was a little off-putting. But I got used to it when I realised that Americans are just really friendly, and this is a good thing, right? And so
That's funny. That is funny. Sure, you will certainly run into people that are not smiling at you. This is not like everyone. But as a general rule, I think if you acknowledge each other, Americans probably do acknowledge each other and give smiles more than average, maybe? This is really getting me thinking.
So I not only came to embrace this, but I started doing it myself. And, people got a bit creeped out by the British teeth. I can't help that. It's just something I'm born with. And so you're going to have to accept it from now on. I must say, though, that during this sort of weird situation we find ourselves in, if anybody smiled at me while I was going out to take the trash out, I'd run for the hills. We don't have hills in Chicago, so I'd be lost.
I could see where this would be weird if you come from a culture where it's not so typical. It would be very disconcerting. Got all these strangers looking at you, smiling, but it's not like that. It's not like that, I swear. Hello? Question mark. Is that something Americans do? Hello? Well, maybe when answering the phone.
Similarly, which is a word I had to say about 10 times before I got right, Americans might greet you not only with a smile, but by saying, "How are you?" or "What's up?" And these don't mean, "Are you okay?" or anything like that. It just means hello, right? And in a way, it's sort of
What? I would have thought this was something that's very common in Britain. Uh, Americans can't be the only people who say, "How are you? What's up? How's it going?" And it does not mean that we're asking for your life story. Or we're not even asking really how you are. We're not actually asking how you are when we say how are you. Just saying hello. Just a polite way of saying hi, basically. Is that actually uncommon in Britain? I didn't know that.
similar to how we Brits say, "All right." And we're not asking if you're okay. We're simply saying hello. So in many ways, there are
Right.
similarities between the two. I don't really know why that is. Are we just trying to soften and euphemize the word hello in the same way that we would with death or going to the toilet? It's really odd when you think about it, but we both do it. Should I start my videos with, "All right, I'm Lawrence," and no, I won't do that.
Oh, that's actually a British expression I was not aware of. All right. Like, is it a short way of saying, "Are you doing all right?" Like, all right? Or are you saying everything's all right? Actually, I'm more distracted by that expression than what we're even talking about with hello. Okay, anyway.
What I will do is go on to our next entry.
Fly the flag. Yeah, since I haven't really seen a lot of other countries in the flesh, walked around their neighborhoods and towns and cities, all I have is my experience in the United States, and certainly we do fly the flag a lot at a lot of places.
Yes, flags. I did talk about this in a video just recently that, American families and houses and things like that are very prone to having the flag flying outside. And I found that it really doesn't matter which party you vote for or anything like that. People will still fly the flags regardless of that, particularly on July the 4th, but you will see it at all times of year on numerous houses. And
True, true. When was this made, by the way? 2 years ago? Yeah, but on top of that, I will say flying the American flag has kind of become associated with certain political parties. Maybe that's a recent thing. But certainly over the course of American history, flying the American flag, just in general, is very common. America's very patriotic historically. And certainly on the 4th of July, yeah, we go crazy.
And that's not to say that we don't fly the flag in Britain, but we usually reserve that for very special occasions like football matches, which are very special occasions these days.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in some parts of the United States, people will like have a flag attached to their car and like just drive around town all day and in their front lawns and all over the place. So this is true.
There's just sort of maybe there's more pride in the flag here, or it symbolizes so much more, and therefore it gets used. And when I say it symbolizes so much more, I mean it really does. You've got the 50 stars representing each of the 50 states, and then you've got the 13 stripes representing each of the original 13 colonies. And so it's symbolic in many ways.
Yeah, yeah, but I've never really thought about it too deeply like that. It's really just like from an early age, Americans are just like associate the flag as this symbol of America united, America, freedom, that whole thing. Yeah, certainly. That is something that's instilled in Americans from birth, really.
And it's part of the lexicon. Even you've got words like Old Glory, Stars and Stripes, and things like that. And so it's a very pervasive part of American culture.
Date format. Like a calendar date, as in month, day, year. I know that it's done differently in other parts of the world for sure.
Ah, yes, date formats. Again, I've spoken about this before on the channel, but it's very much worthy of inclusion because when I first moved to the United States, it was very hard for me to get out of my head the British way of writing the date, which is to put the day first, the month second, and then the year. So
Oh, yeah. I didn't actually know the exact way that Brits did it. but this would be so annoying to have to relearn that if you lived in a different country. That would be like second nature to you. Yes, I don't know if there's a best way to do this. It just like is what it is kind of thing.
It's sort of in order of unit, right? The smallest entity, the day, the second smallest, and then the third smallest, the
Oh, wow. He's putting forth an argument in favor of day, month, year. Oh, I was just saying it didn't really matter. That's a decent argument. It makes sense to me. I'd be willing to concede that.
year. Or is it to the largest? It's so hard to word that correctly without confusing yourself. I'm not a mathematician, and that was evident in my early days of trying to get my head around the American date format. It's not hard. I mean, you obviously just switch the day and the month around,
Yeah.
but it's that thing you've known all your life. You're having to unlearn what you'd
Yeah.
already learned. And eventually, working in an office every day for 5 years, the American way of doing things really did sort of cement itself in my head, and I came good on that front. And I think now if I were to move back to Britain, it'd be the other problem.
That's funny. Yeah. Oh, I imagine it's true for so many people. When you live in another culture for long enough, that really rubs off on you.
And I'd have a hard time adapting. And if I tell everybody that, my birthday is 11/18/1981, they'll think I invented 6 more months. And, will kick me out of the country again for forgery. That's not what that means. Falsehoods, just general falsehoods. Oh, and while I'm on the subject of birthdays, that brings me on to our next entry.
Tailgate. As in tailgating? Like drinking beer and having fun on the back of your truck? As in opening the back of the truck, which is the tailgate. And anyway, maybe he'll explain it better.
Tailgating was such an alien concept to me when I first moved to America, and in many ways it still is, and that's mainly because I don't own a truck and or go to sports events because
The whole premise involves a truck and opening the back of the truck, the tailgate, and having the time of your life.
that's what happens. When I talk about tailgating, I'm not just talking about, when you drive too closely behind another car. I'm
No.
talking about that kind of thing that Americans do at sports events outside of sports stadiums or anywhere else where they can park it. And they just casually light a barbecue and drink beer. And, I mean, they look fun. It's just, I've never been invited to one. So
Yeah, oh my gosh, there are so many trucks in America, by the way. So many trucks, pickup trucks. Even people who don't have to be transporting objects. They have no need for a big truck bed to carry stuff. What is this? Adobe service alert. Adobe, what are you doing? Get out of here. Okay, okay. Anyway, they have no need for such a truck, yet they own a truck. But it does have another purpose, and it's to have a party on the back of it. People can sit on the truck. It's a really expensive seat, glorified seat. But you can carry around your barbecue and your party supplies. So there's that.
So, pity me, come on, feel sorry for me, it's never happened. The best you're going to get outside of sports stadiums in Britain is people selling pirated DVDs. I've just realised, actually, those pirate DVD sellers, they're probably struggling right now because A, there's a pandemic on, and B, no one uses DVDs anymore. Actually, I suppose nobody is doing our next entry, including me, so I'm going to leave this to Lawrence from Christmas to explain.
Refill drink. Oh, is this not a thing? In Britain? No refills? In the United States, basically, whether you're at a restaurant or fast food, you get unlimited drinks. They refill your drink. That is very important. That is one of the most American things ever. Americans would protest and riot if we didn't have drink refills. This isn't a thing? This would be very random to me. This is coming out of nowhere. I feel attacked.
Anybody that's followed my channel now for a while will know that I have feelings on free refills. In fact, I did an entire video about it. And while they are all the rage here, and of course you'll find them in most fast food outlets and other places, there is one clarification I have to make here. You will find free refills as an option in places like Subway. in the United Kingdom. So in some capacity, America has exported it, but it is by no means as universal in the United Kingdom as it is in the United States. And
Wow. I didn't know that. Oh man, I would come off as such a jerk if if I had gone to Britain or something and just assumed you get free drinks. It'd be like I was trying to steal drinks. Wow, this is something that Americans certainly take for granted. It's not that we're super excited and happy about unlimited drink refills. We expect it. And if it was not there, we would complain and be like, "What? No refills? Outrageous." So it's very much expected. Yes, that's funny.
And as I've said before, I think the temptation of knowing that I could get a free cup of pop on top of the one that I've already had is what made me give up pop in the first place. So I do have that to thank America for. Of course, if you are American and you have the willpower to stay away from the free refills, more power to you.
Iced water? What is strange about iced water? Water with ice? Don't you want your water to be cold? This is not strange.
Free refills or not, Americans do like their water to be very cold, and I'm not talking about their bath water. Can you imagine having an ice bath? Do they? That is weird. But they put lots of ice in their water occasionally, and you'll find this happening in restaurants, but people will do it in the comfort of their own homes too. And this was somewhat of an alien concept to me before I moved to the US. I think maybe it's because we live in a mildish climate in Britain. We don't...
What? This stuff is getting stranger and stranger to me. Things I would never have thought about. Iced water? I'm sure at some point, somewhere, a Brit has put ice in their water. But I didn't know that it was uncommon or rare, or because it's definitely the norm in the United States. I would always expect ice in my water at a restaurant or whatever. Huh, how random.
Don't feel the need to do that. And the water in Britain tends to come out of the tap quite cold anyway, so that usually suffices. But actually, I have come to appreciate this one because during the summertime in Chicago, or previously where I lived in Indiana, it gets very, very hot. Sometimes it can get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you go out for a run in that weather, and that's not me, I don't run. But if you do, you're going to perspire like crazy, right? So not only do you need just water in general, it is nice to have it with ice.
I'm glad he's defending this one. He just so happens to be defending this one. Yeah, I think a lot of these are cool. We get unlimited refills. We get ice in our water. We're like kings. We're really living the high life over here.
In it, because it cools you down. Like it's ice cold, and you're catching your breath because it's going so dry from all the heat. They'll even buy bags of ice here in America. You can actually buy bags of ice from the store, and
What? Even that's weird? You can't buy bags of ice? Wow. This is this is surprising me.
I still don't know why people do that. I know because you have ice trays and you put them in the freezer. Am I missing something?
Yeah, you'd usually buy a bag of ice to put into a large cooler or container so that then you could put lots of sodas and little drinks and cans into the cooler, and you'd get them all really cold at once. But for that, you need a really large amount of ice. Therefore, you buy it in bagged form from the store.
So that you can have ice for a party.
Oh, right. Like a tailgating party, or just generally a party.
Yeah.
Any party.
Any party in the summer.
Or winter.
Who has ice in the winter? I mean, in the drink.
Floridians?
That's true. Is it even winter in Florida, though, when it's winter here?
Yes, but no.
Not the same.
Public pajamas? Public pajamas. As in people walking around in pajamas? I would think that was strange if someone was walking around in public in their pajamas. But I wouldn't get too wrapped up in it. I'd probably let it go. I'd be like, oh, they're out in pajamas. That's a little lazy, but it looks comfortable. Is that what we're talking about here?
This one seemed really strange for the first few months of living in America. People going out to the store in their pajamas and sweatpants and things like that. It's as if they don't care about what they look like.
Sweatpants, yes. Sweatpants all day. Pajamas are pretty rare. But maybe this depends on where you live in America. I've seen it. I don't think anyone really cares. Maybe that is the premise here. He's talking about it. It's just as like, they don't care that they look a little lazy. I don't care that they're doing it. So whatever.
While, traversing Walmart, which I can understand. It's not really something you'd find back in Britain. I'm not saying we dress our Sunday best to go shopping, but we at least make an effort, put on jeans and a t-shirt, You will see people going out in their gym jams, their jammies, PJs, right? And I'm not exempt from that, especially right now. I mean, I don't care I want people to avoid me, so of course I go out in my pajamas or anything. I went out in this the other day. These aren't my pajamas. That's just me looking like a Sith Lord, a dime store Sith Lord.
Yeah, certainly at grocery stores, especially Walmart, people will wear anything. They don't care. No one cares, but at least everyone is on the same page. No one cares. So we're all just wearing weird, crazy, comfy stuff together.
But nonetheless a Sith Lord. And I suppose in many ways it speaks to that American tendency toward comfort. But this is not just a pandemic era thing. I mean, people have been doing this for centuries, probably.
Pajamas?
Yeah.
I feel like that started in the 90s.
So there weren't people going in the 19th century going out with their sort of sleeping cap on and things like that to their local blacksmiths or whatever. That's it. Thank you for watching this episode of Lost in the Pond. Don't forget to follow me right here on YouTube so that my video...
Okay, that's it. That was pretty good. That was by Lost in the Pond. I liked that. Give that a like. Is there any funny comments here? In America, acknowledging the presence of a stranger is pretty much required. True. Otherwise, you're being rude. The rule is, if you make eye contact, you must acknowledge their existence with a smile or nod. Exactly. Perfectly put. If you spot each other, you just have to acknowledge their existence somehow, in some little way. Or else you're just a weird, rude little person, which, honestly, I run into those people all the time. No one really takes it too seriously, but it is very common in America, for sure. Going out in public in pajamas only started the last decade. Okay. I would be embarrassed to walk around in my pajamas in public. Yeah, I've never gone full pajama. Never full pajama. Sweatpants a lot. But now I'm feeling a little self-conscious about that. Man. I recently moved to classic American neighborhood. It's honestly like in the movies and TV shows. Everyone's working on their lawns or cars and garage. When I take my dog for a walk, I get roped into conversation. People are just genuinely friendly. Most of the time. I agree. Americans are on average, pretty friendly, or they'll leave you alone. And then you'll get they'll be either very nice or very rude. You get both cases, both extremes. It's kind of fun. Never know what you're gonna get. I enjoyed this list. I really did. This was exactly what I was thinking. Things about America I don't even think about because I'm living it every day. So I have lost touch with the weird stuff we do, or at least some of the stuff I didn't realize was so different than Britain. The most random things. Ice? Smiling at people? Pajamas? I never knew. I'm sure Brits do some of this stuff, but this was good. Very informative and entertaining. Anyway, if you found this somewhat informative or entertaining as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain, the culture there, stuff there that I've never seen or heard about before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.